Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about CBD oil, if potency matters, as well as a guide on how to dab CBD, and then a guide on how to stop coughing so hard from marijuana smoke. With us, we got a professional here. This is Rick DeLove with DeLove Group.
What's up, everybody? What's good, Josh? How you doing, my man?
Good. Appreciate you being with us today. Kind of help talk out this whole CBD craze. And
crazy.
So I know you got a guilty pleasure of blunts just like I do. I know you're a flower guy as well. And so this next article from Benzinga is how to stop coughing so hard from marijuana smoke. I think they've got a couple of tips here. One of the pro tokers said to keep coughing to a minimum is just to inhale deeply after taking a hit. One of the most common rookie mistakes is taking a hit and hesitating to suck the smoke down right away. Does that help you just to hit it right away and not worry about it, or what?
Oh God, I wish there was an article that would help me smoke. I'm notorious for my cough. Back in the days, people would laugh from over the market because they would hear me hit a bong hit, and I would just It's just, I'm also a big sneezer. You know, my sneezes got me kicked out of a couple of educational programs in elementary. I mean, it's just, everyone's different. But I think it's interesting. I just saw something where they ripped the marijuana guy was on one of those shows where they watch clips, and they said, you know, for a guy who talks about smoking marijuana, you think he'd be good at it. And he coughs worse than me, I think, you know, or at least the same level, you know, to each their own. You know, there's a good cough, and then there's a cough of toxic waste, you know, and I think just knowing the difference from that cough. There's coughs that, you know, rip. It's all part of it. I've had excellent products that make me cough. I've had stuff that there's no cough, the smoother it is. But I don't know. I think it's a personal thing.
One of the other pro tips is to smoke less, you know, like little lighter hits. I think that's hilarious. But to your point, I think it is about quality. I was recently turned on to Bovita's humidity packs at 62.5%.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And to keep that really moist, because if it's dry and then you're rolling it up and then you hit that, something that's really, really dry is gonna you know, burn your throat and not be very good. Obviously, if something is more humid, it's going to have a cleaner burn. And just like cigars that have like a gray ash, you can tell the same way if that cannabis has been flushed properly of any heavy metals and excessive nutrients, as well as how it was dried based on the ash color and how it burns.
Right. I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about the hardware issue with the cartridges. I think it's interesting. There's a new on that new did you get that article I emailed you with, or was going around about the cop in Seattle, and he bought from the 502 company, and is suing. He says, "Oh, I can't deal with my daughter. I can't work," after hitting a illegal THC vape thing, and it was distributed to these brands from Cannabrand, who bought them from He-Cell from China. Did you see this?
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I think we need to talk about, because what we've been talking about so far is the oil in these cartridges. Now, this is such a big industry. A lot of people they're forgetting that the hardware is huge in all of this. I can make a lot of money being a packager. As me and you both know, I can make a lot of money selling the machines that package things. So hardware is a big thing. So the interesting thing to me about this article is that this police officer, which I don't have a problem with cops, for the record. I think it's a hard job to do. Would I want to do it? No, but somebody's got to regulate it. They have a right to smoke good products too. So I'm not saying anything about cops being in cannabis or CBD. That's not the point. What the point is that they had a product and they have an effect from it, and they're suing the hardware company. The hardware, they're not saying that there's PG in it or MCT or Vita. They're suing Cannabrand for the hardware, which is an interesting thing to me, because I've been watching this happen as you pick I mean, part of what I do is help companies pick the right hardware for their cartridges. You know, whether they understand or not, or laugh. You know, well, Rick, why would I buy this one? This is $1.52 instead of this one for 72 cents. Well, here's a little secret to people. That 72-cent cart is the coils have lead in them. Now, they're not going to tell you this, and nobody's going to understand this, but that's what's up. Now, Rick, how do you know that? Hey, man, you want to risk your money on that? You want to risk your brand? You want to risk it? That's what's coming from, well, I'll just take that risk. These are from 502 companies and black market companies. They're
it's
just
the lack of knowledge too. Back to that, I've got a client in California who's an attorney and a CPA, and he's just looking at the cheapest thing in California for these carts. So what happens in China is these carts will be dipped in diesel fuel to, quote, clean them. And that diesel fuel is what leaches out that lead, the heavy metals. So then when you use these carts, you're inhaling all of that metal.
Right, and it's just a shortcut that they're using in China just because there's no regulation. And so for years, I've been like, you know, it's I guess I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Like, so when I was with Bigfoot Farms, C-Cell, or not C-Cell, Canada actually did offer us those C-Cell carts, and they were the all-in-ones too. And they had a long draw, and but the whole point wasn't that the cart wasn't good. That's not. I thought it was interesting that they're so good at their branding and making packaging that they went into this whole side, which is lucrative, but they don't make oil. So I mean, imagine a company like, let's just say Fat Panda, and I'm making money, making all their packaging, making their marketing, and then I sell them these cartridges and the oil goes, and it doesn't work, or it comes back toxic. I lose that whole account. But the cartridge sale is so lucrative that, and people want, you know, like, oh, I know everything. Look, I bought 50,000 units, and now I can give you a great price. Well, they were dipped in that crap that you just said, and nobody's going to say anything. And even the brands that buy them in 502, they're going to push them through. I hate saying that. You know, there's just no, they're on a race to the bottom. The only companies that could actually shelve them is the Fat Pandas. And even Fat Pandas push that shit through. All of that shit gets pushed through because the consumer doesn't know. Consumer doesn't even say, hey, what's in this pen? Is it PG? You pull a pen out, people don't know if it's distillate, PHO, they don't know, don't care. But the hardware is what's getting in the lawsuit. And so the weird thing about that is that's where I think this is about. I think this is about the control of the hardware. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, the jewel market is a proprietary hardware that's been that Philip Morris bought 30% of. They probably even own more of it. It's a worldwide thing, and I have a feeling that this is about the 51 of the 510 thread carts. Those universal carts that out there, if you just say those are all bad or your company shouldn't buy that, the only product you're going to buy is those jewels, and all that licensing will go to them. And I have a feeling that that's what this is about. I have a feeling that, and it's not that we shouldn't be talking about the regulation of these carts, but in one swoop, we could get rid of all those 510 swoops, and the only carts you would be able to buy are going to be the jewels because no other guys are going to come up and be able to be, oh, look, you got a VHS, one beta, let's do this. That's not going to happen in the cart world. That won't. So the jewel will just take over everybody, and every company will have to license that, and Philip Morris will have a leg into your cannabis business. And so that's where I think is interesting about that lawsuit that the cop has filed against the brands and Cannabrand. You know, that it's the hardware. Yes, it could be default. Yes, they have a right to do it. Yes, but I think is it timely? Yes. I'm just saying, man, out of all of this, I feel that Jewel might be the one that just wins out from this, where all of our brands just have to buy from a Jewel licensed distributor. So, I mean, that's a weird thing for me. I just feel like we're being tricked.
The timing is interesting for sure.
Very interesting.
Well, so let's wrap this segment up with a dab, shall we? So you've got a quick stick, don't you? You've got a little butane torch there. You've got a glass quick stick, and then you've got some concentrate, some THC to show.
I'm going to be doing some hot dog water.
Right. Awesome.
Clean hot dog water, though, I can say that. And this is a quick stick that me and my associates have from the DeLove group have a patent for that is supposed to be used. It's one of the best low temp vaping tools out there. You don't overheat your oil onto it, and it's very cheap. But we own the design on it. So what the idea is to sell to Have a Heart, sell them 1,000 of these with their logo on it, and nobody will come and take a cease and desist order from them. Mm-hmm. So the quick stick. You ready for me to do a dab? Let me get it on.
So step one is, once situated with your dab rig and CBD concentrate, you heat up the nail with the butane torch until the surface is glowing red. That's what you're doing now. So now step number two, similar to the process of dabbing THC, the amount of time you need to wait to dab is dependent on the thickness of the material for your banger or nail. The optimal temperature lies somewhere around 320 to 356 degrees.
Yeah.
As higher temperature will destroy the terpenes, so they say waste it to taste it.
Yep.
So as a general rule, it takes about 20 seconds to heat the nail and 60 seconds for it to cool, but can be dependent based on the material thickness, and you might want to have a stopwatch. Apparently, these guys are really getting into it. Step four is exhale immediately.
Exhale immediately. Oh, I got to read the article.
After finishing the dab, clean the nail and remove the leftover residue. Let the nail cool down and wipe off the inside of the nail with a cotton swab. You can dip the cotton swab in isopropyl alcohol and rub it all the way in. I think we missed step three, though, which is using the dab tool to place the concentrate on the surface of the nail. Yep. You obviously got that down pretty well. How was it?
One of the biggest things, that was a great dab. Look at my eyes. It just, shut the hell. It's like coffee.
So the difference between a dab and smoking a blunt or a bong is a dab being a concentrate has kind of more a clarity high. It's maybe more shallow. It's not as deep behind the eyes or body. I've been able to dab and still continue working. I haven't really felt like it affects me as much. It's more of a clear high. Tends to, fall off fairly quickly, though. What's your experience?
I kind of think it's depending on what you're dabbing and who made it. Just the same as flour. You have day highs. Oh, here's something. I gave a company marketing is a big thing. So this company, I was at this party talking to him, and I was teaching him. I go, this is a lunch high, and he's like, "What's that mean?" I go, "Well, there's a couple sections that I put cannabis into, but a lot of people need weed that they smoke on their lunch break when they go back to work, and they say, 'Hey, how was your lunch?' 'Hey, it was great. Let me go back to work.' You smoke some indica, you come back and you say, 'Hey, Steve, how was your job?' 'Hey, man, why don't you not talk to me, man? Why don't you just fucking with me, man?'" And so that's not a lunch high. So I think the strain is a big part of oil. Leaving the soul in it is a big part of it too. But really good, clean products. I mean, purging. We came through this about oil, learning what purging is. When me and you, Josh, when we first started smoking oil, that shit was not purged. It was horrible stuff, and it's the reason why we're where we are now talking about oil, because we learned it. We've had the Kobe sticks now of oil, but we've also had, the scraps, the burn ends of it, the rib tips, and I'm not even going to lie. Some of those rib tips were delicious, but it's taken me years to realize the secrets of, what those rib tips are and the fatty parts and how unhealthy they are. And, but no, the consumers need to know this kind of stuff. And there needs to be more of a basis like what you're doing of educating without being, pushed by Fat Panda or, influenced by a certain brand to say that you're wonderful. We need people to come out there and say, no, MCT in your vape pens is not a good idea. That is not good IP. you know, and get behind that kind of stuff instead of like, oh yeah, you sold a lot of units last year, man. You guys must be kicking ass. We need more people standing up to the plate, educating people like yourself, you know, and I'm going to be in the range trying to learn the science, smoking the fucking product for sure, you know, but really figuring out quality levels that people, and it's weird because a lot of the stuff that I learned, people don't, I mean, you appreciate it when your business is about to go away. But, you know, when you're making money, you don't want to hear, hey, man, you know, I wouldn't put PG in that product. You know, the consumers are, hey, well, they don't know anything. Well, that's unethical. Right now, that's not the biggest and best stance for me as a consultant. That should be. My integrity level should be what is making me my money. You know, because I come out and I'm saying, hey, here's the long run for your brands. But the brands are afraid that they won't even be there next year because everyone's racing to the bottom. That shit needs to go away. And brands, the small craft brands need to be able to support themselves by being able to ship their great products to Florida, to Oregon, to California, and then they don't have to succumb to this. If you don't make dollars, you don't get to survive, you know? So, I mean, quality, good. Shout out to all the good craftspeople. And, you know, there's a lot of good brands out there. Trailblazers is a great brand out there that they seem to be, they just make integrity. You know, there's not a lot of brands out there that are just making every move with integrity for the long run. They're not they're not making more money than the big dogs, but they're surviving with integrity. I mean, you can say, hey, that's a brand I would give to my mom. You know,
TJ's Gardens is one of those. They just sold for $12.5 million in Oregon with a market that has 6.5 years excess supply, which speaks volume because they sold more than Dope magazine that has events, a magazine, social media, products, and this commodity, this farm sold for more than that. They have phenomenal flower. Talk about soul. They got some of the fucking funkiest soul out there. I love TJ's. But with that, how can people reach out to you, Rick? Where are you at?
Well, you can reach out to me on Facebook as Rick DeLove, of course. I'm pretty accessible. On Instagram, on People's Champs with a Z. You can check me out through my DeLove Group, which is my consulting firm that actually connects all the dots so everybody can basically go and do what they need to do. And you can actually find me through my lifestyle CBD brand, Live Right CBD, hashtag grandma friendly. And check out all the products that we're setting up there. And we're going to be online maybe this week, you know, maybe. That's a whole nother thing. You see the banking stuff? Banking's about to get all cannabis too, so maybe things will change up here really quick.
We did a podcast yesterday on the
As you can tell, that dab was
baking act. So you got to check out that on the Talking Hedge, definitely. Well, Rick DeLove with the DeLove Group, I appreciate you stopping by and talking about all things CBD.
I'll roll that back.
So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid, our guest, Rick DeLove. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Or don't. And I'm out.
Love you guys. Thank you, Josh.